Hello and welcome back to another episode of TGN Tech. My name is Darren Dunn, and in this video we're going to be going over and I'm going to be re-giving my fresh opinions surrounding the Android mobile operating system. I don't want to ramble on too much because I've got a lot of rambling to do right after the intro. First of all, I'd like to just start off by apologising to Android and Google. I tested and got my first opinions, and my opinions that lasted for about a year surrounding Android, from a piece of bad journalism by me. I tested Android 2.1 Eclair, the first ever experience I had with Android, on a HTC Wildfire. Not the Wildfire S, just the first Wildfire. And you know that phone wasn't the most powerful. How did I know? Well, it wasn't released in America. Let's just say that. So, how would I sum that up for you? Yeah, I put a operating system like Windows on a laptop that's 10 years old. It would be slow, sluggish, and hardly worked. Bit like my experience with HTC Wildfire and 2.1 Eclair. However, these phones, just a few operating system upgrades on, my opinions have changed drastically. First of all, I'd like to start off by showing you what I like. If you follow me on Twitter, you will understand that I am bored to death of iOS 5. It looks the same as iOS 1, besides wallpapers, obviously iOS 2, iOS 3, iOS 4, iOS 5, iPhone 4S, iPhone 4. It's the same. I want a fresh start, and I can't without jailbreaking. Android, however, customization is the heart of Android. I can make Android myself, my own operating system, easily. I don't have to stick with the out-of-the-box like I do with the iPhone. You know, I can customize things. I can't do that with an iOS without jailbreaking, and that's just one thing that I want. People want to be able to customize phones. One thing people are even talking about is they would love the ability to customize and custom build mobile phones just like they do with PCs. So you could go to Samsung and say, hey, I want a quad-core phone with a 5-inch screen, Android 3.0 or 4.0 when it's out, and Android and Google and Samsung could build that for them. Now I can sort of do that with the operating system within Android. I can't do that without jailbreaking on iOS. So I'm bored of the stale user interface. It's like Symbian, it's just bored, outdated, and I wanted a fresh start. From the moment I slid to unlock, better not say that, Apple own the patent now to slide to unlock, so if I say that too much I might cause another lawsuit. This is one thing I like, a clean user interface. If I wanted to customize it, because I'm sure people will get bored, hold down, it's very fast, very responsive. That's also down to the hardware as well. Like I say, I tested it first on poor hardware, so I got a very poor reading surrounding Android. And if I wanted to, I could download widgets, I could add some of Motorola's widgets, custom skins. That is one downside to Android. You do sometimes, unfortunately, get custom skins. When I say unfortunately, HTC Sense isn't that bad. Moto Blur, not that much of a fan of. So if I wanted to add a calendar and maybe customize the look of things, I can do. I can also grab it, drag it round, delete it if I want. I could swap places, and it's as easy as that. Now I can't do that with an iOS. Yes, sure, I can change the squared icons around, and all they do is swap pixels, and it's pretty annoying, and to be honest, they're that small you don't even notice it. So the fresh change with an Android, that ability is just, it's a winner for me, hands down. One thing I'm not that keen on Android with is fragmentation. If I buy a phone running Android 3.0, one will come out 2 months later, a better phone, but it'll be running 2.3 Gingerbread like this is, for example. The Motorola DEFY is not an old phone at all. Sorry, the DEFY Plus, the DEFY is. The DEFY Plus hasn't been out for more than a few months. One thing I don't like about Android as well is this menu here. It reminds me of iOS, it reminds me of my ex, if you'd like to say that, you know, my old iOS relationship thing, Apple fanboyism. This reminds me of iOS. It also reminds me of Symbian. Why? Because it's just plain on the black sorry, plain black on the back. Words mixed up, I wasn't trying to do any puns. That does remind me of iOS 1. So if I could maybe customize this a little bit, make sure the menus were a little bit nicer, that would be absolutely brilliant. However, I can't complain about customization. Android has what I want it to be. And the fact that I do have multiple screens, I can have a total different customization. I could have one for every day of the week if I wanted to. So maybe I like that on a Monday morning, something that's calm, because Monday mornings everyone hates them. And then Friday nights I could have something that's awesome on this screen that's just going to bring me to life. I can't do this within iOS, and this is what I like about Android. I am loving Android. And the App Store, yeah, it's got more apps than the Android market, but I'm not an app guy. I review a few applications, I find a few of them useful, but Android has an alternative, if not the very, very same application within its Android market. So this is why I'm loving Android. Android for me is an absolute brilliant start. It's very fast. I mean, this hardware is pretty good. It's got a, I believe, 1 GHz processor. I'm not sure. I think it might have 1 GB of RAM. If not, it's 512 megabytes, if I can remember rightly. There's too many phones, too many specs these days. But this phone is very responsive, you know. It's very quick. It doesn't let me down. I've not had one crash yet. Android, I love you. I'm sorry previously. However, what's your opinions on Android? Do you like Android? What's your favourite Android OS? I'm absolutely ecstatic to see Android Ice Cream Sandwich 4.0. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel for more coverage surrounding Android, iOS, all of the mobile operating systems, plus the latest tech news and reviews. I'm Darren Dunn from TGN Tech, and I'll see you in the next video.